Hello, hello. Ooh, I bet y'all can't hear me because my mic is way over here. Goodness, that was probably super loud. Hi, let's get mic'd. Hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to, gosh, I don't know if we need to call these morning meetings or Tuesday coffee chats or what. Oh, I just swear word on that coffee cup. So I'm gonna spin it this way. I hope everyone is having an amazing week. This is going to be our last live Tuesday chat for a couple of weeks, but there will be videos for you. They'll just be pre-recorded in full disclosure because I am going on vacation. It's not what it was supposed to be, but we're going to do it. Let's see here. So today we're talking about how to stop mosquito bites and why it matters for autoimmunity. A lot of people have mosquitoes just making them miserable, right? And so constantly being attacked by mosquitoes is actually preventable, one, and it's an important sign that something's going on, right? It's also super important to protect your immune system. And I don't know many adults that just, will put up with mosquitoes. But, my kids, for example, they used to get eaten up a lot and sometimes still do when we're not paying attention, but they'll just ignore it and keep on playing, right? I don't want you to think on this topic that we have to be uber careful about mosquitoes too, and that it's just one more thing to worry about. It's not exactly that. But if you are the one that's always getting bitten, so if you're in the backyard with other people and the mosquitoes don't seem to be bothering anyone else, then learning how to stop mosquito bites will help you help your immune system to function properly. And that's really important, right? And so the reason it helps your immune system is because there is a little jolt of inflammatory fluid that mosquito injects into you when it bites. And if you can avoid that, then you can help to keep your immune system alert and able to fight off the things it needs to be fighting instead of confusing it with mosquito bites. And it's a good sign that there are other deficiencies happening in your body. If you want to listen to this full episode on the podcast, it's always better on the podcast, I think. It's episode 120, episode 120. So if you're someone that gets eaten up by mosquitoes, tune in. There's lots of sort of old wives' tales on the internet and all these things, but the truth of the matter is that there is a perfect recipe that mosquitoes like as their meal, and it consists of a few possible combinations of low B vitamins, metabolic acidosis, and not the kind that'll put you in the hospital. But basically what it means is that you're producing more CO2. And there's lots of different reasons and whys really that you can produce more CO2. So if you're working out, breathing harder, sometimes that will be the cause in and of itself. But by and large, we see nutrient deficiencies with frequent mosquito bites. Usually they're in the B vitamin family, specifically thiamine, but not always just thiamine, right? So if you Google B vitamins and mosquitoes, right, you'll see that the theory is a myth. And they'll say, but actually, it's carbon dioxide. But if you know anything about the human body and about biology, then you know that studies show that increased carbon dioxide can actually stem from a B vitamin deficiency. Now, it can stem from a few other things like I mentioned. It can stem from high blood sugar. It can stem from a buildup of lactic acid. It can stem from the kidneys. It can stem from a need for L-glutamine. All of those things have to do with your immune system, and all of them are really critical in order for you to be healthy. So I just want you to take that cue from Mother Nature and say, okay, if I'm getting bitten up by mosquitoes, maybe I need to think about the nutrients that are coming in my body, or if I'm able to absorb the nutrients that I'm taking in. It could be a problem as simple as you don't have enough stomach acid. That's where the chain of B vitamins start, right? So if you're someone that takes Tums, if you're someone that takes proton pump inhibitors like Prilosec, I can't think of the other one, but anything to calm acid reflux or indigestion, then you probably get bitten by mosquitoes because you're B vitamin deficient, okay? It causes a cascade of things. Again, I'm not saying like mosquitoes are the top of the list of things that you need to worry about. I just want you to take that tiny little clue from Mother Nature and allow it to think, okay, so what's going on here? Why is it always me that gets eaten up by the mosquitoes? Why am I the one sitting inside when everyone else is enjoying patio time, right? Okay, let me check in and see. I keep spinning that coffee mug so that y'all see the swear word. It's not intentional. I just drink with my left hand. Okay, so can you agree with me that there is an inflammatory response when you get bitten by a mosquito, right? You get the wheel and it itches. I don't know anyone who doesn't get at least a small wheel. And I know people who like their whole arm or leg will swell up, right? It's because your body sends out inflammatory cells to heal that tiny little puncture wound. And mosquito saliva has all kinds of stuff in it. I'm not even going to go into because it's pretty gross, but there's lots of different proteins in there. Let's call it that. And so your body starts sending out inflammatory cells like it's supposed to. That's the good kind of inflammation to heal the wound. What's interesting is that it doesn't stop there. You wouldn't think that people would want to study something like mosquito bites, but there's actually a lot of studies on them about what happens to your immune system after you get bitten. And I think a lot of these studies arrived or came into fruition back when Zika virus was such a huge topic. I think it was around 2010 when that was such a big topic and everybody was worried about it. But essentially what happens is your body produces fewer of something called regulatory T cells. And it's their job, regulatory T cells' job, to modulate the immune system, right? So kind of pump the brakes or hit the gas. That's why you can think of modulating the immune system, like go full force and attack or pull back and retreat. And after one single mosquito bite, this response with the T cells can happen for up to 7 days for one mosquito bite. Now, most people I know that are sitting out in the patio and just getting eaten up, or they always have to spray off or DEET or whatever, skin so soft, whatever, all over their bodies, they're not getting one mosquito bite. It's lots of mosquito bites. Like I said, the spit from mosquitoes is made of hundreds of different proteins and all kinds of things. And it causes your body to have to shift its immune worries in that direction, right? So it's pointing all the soldiers at that mosquito bite. So your body is making sure that that mosquito bite is taken care of, but it's open for attack from everything else in the environment. With a global pandemic going on right now, that might be important to you to kind of avoid. For most people with an average healthy immune system, and it's difficult to find somebody with a truly healthy immune system, but for most people with a healthy immune system, it's not a lot of a problem until you add a nutrient deficiency on top of that, or no sleep or stress or any of those things. But for autoimmune sufferers or people with chronic long-term illnesses, it's one more issue for the immune system to try to modulate. And it seems small, but it's actually a pretty big issue for the immune system to try to modulate. It leads to much larger inflammatory responses and a much lesser ability to fight off anything that the mosquito might have been carrying or that might be in your regular environment. So colds and viruses and bacteria, right? So in the last episode 119, I talked about what causes autoimmune disease. And we learned that environmental triggers are one of the reasons that people develop autoimmune disease, one of the root causes, right? Or it's also a root cause of why people have autoimmune flares. So when your autoimmune condition, whatever it is, flares up because of a particular trigger or event. Now, is it likely that you will develop an autoimmune disease because of a mosquito bite? Absolutely not. But it is likely that you could further your system-wide or body-wide inflammation. And more importantly, it's a sign that there are nutrient deficiencies that could be root causes for autoimmune disease in the future, or could be contributing. It could be one of the root causes to your autoimmune disease right now. So first of all, I would advise you to have your lab work looked at from a functional perspective. And from that functional perspective, you can determine if you have deficiencies that might be causing your mosquito bites. Now, these nutrient deficiencies generally take longer to fix. So it's kind of like what we talked about back in the spring for spring allergies. You're not going to be able to fix it and just be free the rest of the mosquito season, right? You have to have a short-term solution now and long-term be working on that solution, the root cause, so that by next mosquito season, you're good to go, right? So you take short-term steps to relieve it, right? That's masking symptoms, fully admit it, and then long-term steps to heal it, and also managing your exposure right now. So with the nickname that one of my clients gave me as the wilderness nurse, you can guess that my solution is not going to be to stay indoors, right? Because that's going to cause more harm to your immune system, your physical, mental, energetic, and emotional health. But it would be irresponsible to continue to go outside and just get eaten up by mosquitoes, or to cover yourself in a toxin to try to repel them, right? So all those things, mosquito bites and the toxin to try to repel them, both environmental triggers, right? So one of my favorite solutions, or some of my favorite solutions really, because we're going to talk about three, to repelling mosquitoes are, I've lost my train of thought, are citronella essential oil, peppermint essential oil, and vanilla extract, right? Now, it's not a surprise that bugs tend to hate the smell of citrus, right? A lot of people, everyone's heard of citronella. It's a lemony, grassy plant. Bugs absolutely hate to be around. So a couple solutions. You can have a couple on your patio. Our whole patio is lined with citronella plants. They smell good too, and they're pretty. You can light some citronella candles, but be wary. Often, especially if you're in like a semi-enclosed area, those are very hard on the lungs. Having one of those candles burning for an hour, let's say, is like smoking a pack of cigarettes, right? Especially if you're in kind of an enclosed or semi-enclosed area, right? Another thing you can do is take citronella essential oil and put it on your pulse points, right? Pulse points are your wrists, your heart, behind your ears. It's those points that your mom used to tell you to put perfume on, behind your knees and down at your ankles. Those are all really good points to put your citronella essential oil. You can also use peppermint. That's another plant that we grow on our back porch because peppermint keeps the bugs away. It actually keeps spiders, ants, fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes away, right? But again, no need to spray chemicals on your body. If you have peppermint essential oil, it smells much better than citronella, in my opinion. You can either put the essential oil on your pulse points, like I said, or one of our favorite solutions, if we don't want to use the hyper concentrated stuff, is to just take a citronella leaf or a peppermint leaf, rub it on our hands, and then rub it on our body. It's a much lighter scent. It works just as well. And, I tend to save the big guns for the big guns, right? Another one is vanilla extract. And this is just vanilla extract out of my pantry. Sometimes I make my own, but we bought some. My daughter makes vegan gluten-free cupcakes, and so this is for her. There's no sugars, no corn syrup added, so it's just alcohol and vanilla, okay? But it's really good for keeping the critters away. You can mix it with some water and spray it where bugs frequent. So if peppermint and citronella is not your thing, you can use vanilla extract mixed in some distilled water. And then you don't have to smell like citronella or peppermint, right? Any of the three, citronella, peppermint, vanilla extract, they all smell better than deep piney woods, okay? All of them. So even better is to mix them together, and it kind of smells like an energized dreamsicle. I don't know if anybody has ever had a dreamsicle before, but I like to mix all of these together. I use a 20-ounce glass spray bottle. Here is my mini version. So this is a 4-ounce spray bottle. In the 20-ounce bottle, you're going to use 30 drops of citronella, 30 drops of peppermint, right? And then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then fill the rest of the bottle with distilled water. Now you can either buy distilled water, or you can boil your water, let it cool, and then fill the rest of the bottle. You can also use witch hazel. A lot of people try to use full vodka when they make bug sprays. I find that it evaporates too fast. So if you want to use some cheap vodka, you could do cheap vodka and distilled water to help the oils mix a little bit better. You'll definitely want to shake it up and then spray it all over your body because it will kind of settle and separate. I do have that recipe on the website at audreychristie.com/120, and I'll put that in the comments below. Tara says huge. I missed it. It was 7 minutes ago. Sorry, Tara. My comments are a little, Tara says she did not know about the vanilla extract. Yes, it makes it smell so much better. One of the things that I hate is when I do have to use bug stuff, which isn't very often. And let me just preface all of this where, I live in the woods and I have a creek that has standing water in it and not a lot of fish. And so there are times and places where it might not be a nutrient deficiency, but if you're not eating right and doing what you need to do for your body. So take that cue from Mother Nature. But in the event that I'm going to go spend a lot of time at the creek, especially this time of year, I don't really necessarily want to have to go spend time at the creek, like if I go at noon and then say I've got other things to do, other places to go, back in the day when we could see people, other people to see, I don't necessarily want to smell like citronella for the rest of the day. And I personally, the smell of citronella, except for it doesn't resonate. I don't want to wear that as a perfume. So if you put the three of these together, it's much more manageable. And then you don't have to wash your clothes, go take a shower midday just to, then go be, a human being again. So that's why I really like to do it. Uh-oh, am I still here? There I am. So to wrap this up, you don't have to suffer from mosquito bites as just one more thing to add to your plate, struggling with autoimmune condition or chronic disease or anything else. And honestly, and this is hard to do, mosquitoes are part of the ecosystem, right? But maybe you can find just a tiny bit of gratitude for those little bugs that show up to let you know that something's not quite right with your human suit, right? Take it as a cue from Mother Nature and notice what might be going on at the roots internally that can ultimately help you to heal your body and be your best expression of wellness, particularly if you have autoimmune disease or a chronic illness. Thank you so much for hanging out this morning, and I hope you have the most magical day, of course, and I challenge you to leave this world however you can, just a tiny bit better than when you found it when you got up this morning. As always, whether you're watching the replay or live, feel free to put questions in there and I will circle back and answer them, and I will drop the link so that you can have the recipe. Be well.